What if you could sing just a little bit higher? I've had that thought so many times in my life, and it wasn't until I really started looking at it in a different way that I finally figured out exactly how to do that. Hey everyone, I'm Micah Blake, owner of Speaking Music, where we teach you to go from being not a musician to learning any instrument or sing in any way that you want. There's basic steps that we can do this, and typically we work through 5 basic steps that have to do with learning anything, but specifically with music. So when you're learning to sing higher or to sing at all, there's a lot of issues that we have, and most of them are mental. Now there are some basic things. You gotta learn to breathe right with your diaphragm. You gotta learn to open up your throat so that the sound actually comes out correctly. You have to be, you can't be dehydrated. That's really hard on your vocal cords. There's a few basic things like that, but if you are at this point in your singing, you probably have looked at all those. What we're talking about is, why is it hard to go up a couple of notes higher than you feel like you can? But I'm going to show you how it's actually pretty easy to jump up 5 notes higher. When we start looking at anything, I like to start with our belief. Now, I have a lot of siblings, and pretty much all the guys in my family had that same top note. Couldn't really sing much higher than that, and for years I thought that was just the way it was. I worked with so many different methods and so many different ways, and in the end I just felt like, you know what, I can't get any higher. Until I figured out a different way of thinking. It was that thought process that if I'm singing up this way, I have to sing in a certain way. But all I had to do is change my way of singing and I could sing much, much higher, which we'll go into later on. But I had to break that belief that I had to sing in a certain way the whole time. Now there's going to be a lot of different beliefs that you might have that you need to think about in a different way. That could be anything from well, I just need to do this first and then I'll be able to do it, or that and that, and we get all these confusing things in our mind. But the truth is, if you have a limiting belief that you can't do it, you're not going to be able to do it. You might not know all the steps to get there at this moment, but if you start going in the direction, you will find the answers you need. The next thing that we always look at is goals. Because if you don't know where you're going, then you're not going to be able to get there. Now, like I said, going 2 notes higher than you want to is actually pretty difficult. People would probably rather just go quite a bit higher, 5 notes higher. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. This is specifically talking about guys' voices because it's easier to see with that, but it will work the same way with female voices as well. Now, once you know that you can do it, your beliefs are set, once you know that you know where you're going, your goals are set, then we gotta know what to do. That's where we have to understand how our voice works. Now, I'm going to talk to you in a couple of, people use different words for it, like falsetto as your high voice, or your high register, or different things like that. But essentially, here, let me get my pen out. Actually, you see this? I'm not sure. Zoom in. It's not going to show you. There are so many bite marks on this. I'm pretty sure my cat has been eating my pen. Anyway, so if we look, think of your vocal range as this. Right now, you can comfortably sing here, and then this part gets a little squiggly. You can sometimes hit it, sometimes you can't. It's super tricky to do. But the truth is, our voices almost have like a gearbox. And typically if you go up to that higher gearbox, falsetto, it's going to look something like this. Now, when you try to sing real low, it's also a little bit squiggly. And you have that same type of range in falsetto. You have the lower part of your falsetto, which is a little tricky. It doesn't quite sound right. And your highest part, highest, also a little tricky, doesn't quite sound right. So that's why this area here is the hardest to sing. That 2 notes higher than you feel comfortable with. Because while you're singing in your normal voice and you sing up higher and higher and higher and higher, then it starts to feel strained. But if you jump to your falsetto, then that section doesn't feel good singing that low. So a lot of times what I will do is sing up higher and start to work on getting your falsetto range lower and lower and lower, while at the same time getting your regular range higher and higher. And try to make this awkward zone as small as you can. Now, okay, that is a great thing, Micah. You're saying that if you can sing in falsetto, then you can sing higher. We all knew that. But the truth is, a lot of people don't know that they can sing in falsetto and it can sound good. But since we don't do it that often, it doesn't sound good. So that comes to our practice. Now, practicing for singing is, people mostly just sing songs to practice. And there's a lot of different things that will help a lot more than that. You can do just different patterns of going up and down. You can do some jumps. There's a lot of different vocal exercises that I work with people. But no matter how you cut it up, it's singing and strengthening your singing muscles in your regular voice, and then also strengthening them in your falsetto. So as you get both of those stronger, then you'll be able to switch back and forth when needed and pretty much navigate different songs so that it is always going to sound the right way for you. And sometimes you'll have to change some up because it hits right where it's just not feeling super comfortable. So you may have to bump it up higher or bump it down lower, depending on the song at that moment. Now, what I see a lot of people doing is going way past the point of it being under control. And that's when it starts sounding really bad. And that's before it ever starts cracking or anything. And the way to know when you're still in control is to add some vibrato in there. Now, a lot of times people don't really love this style in their singing, but to throw it in there when you're practicing to see if you have control is huge. So what vibrato is just oscillating your voice. So instead of going la, adding in la, and there's that pulse in there. Now that's really easy to do there, but as you get higher, la, I can still hit it fine there, but if you go higher and it starts to really strain yourself to have that vibrato in there, then it's probably not where you should be singing, and you should be switching over to your falsetto at that point. And then once again, with the falsetto, if you start going too high with that and you can't do it, then you just need to start exercising your voice more with those normal exercises that we talk about and get that vibrato back in so that you know you're comfortable with it and you can go forward from there. The next thing after that is just sharing. Being able to transfer this information to someone else will make you understand it so much more. And that could be performance-wise or just showing someone what you've learned. If you have any questions more about this, feel free to contact me at speakingmusic.online. I also have an assessment section where you can really learn more about where you should be learning specifically. And that's speakingmusic.online/assessment, where we'll go over some of your answers and work with you to get you on the right path to learning exactly what you need to learn, because we all have different paths in music.